Hey everyone, I'm Crystal Jigrup, and this is Empowered by Women. In August of 2021, I launched Book of Bijou, which is a line of chic and innovative jewelry storage. And in January of 2022, we expanded into what you now see as the Empowered by Women platform. I really wanted to create a centralized space where we can really put emphasis on our mission of women empowerment and community over competition. It really truly does fill my cup to be surrounded by so many of you inspiring women, and the energy that you bring to me and our platform on a daily basis is unmatched. You really all do fuel me with so much motivation to continue doing what I'm doing, and for that, I thank you. Before we jump into the episode, please be sure to follow or subscribe to us wherever you are listening, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on your favorite podcast platform. And also don't forget to share your favorite episodes with your fellow female founders so that we can continue growing our platform and furthering our mission. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this next interview with another incredible woman in entrepreneurship that I know you guys are going to absolutely love. Today we have the incredible Mary Ann Tucker. She is the founder of Daisy Bella, a really incredible fashion brand that has this beautiful, eclectic, international flair. I am so excited you are joining us today, Mary. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I like to really get on platforms where people can really hear not only about Daisy Bella, but what the mission is. It's so much more than being apparel. It's something that I just can go on forever about.
Well, I'm going to let you go on. Maybe not forever, but we do want to hear more about it. So I love a brand with a mission. So let us dive into that. First of all, give us a little bit about your background, right? What have you been doing,
Well,
in
yeah,
the past,
to this
right?
point.
And how that has led you to Daisy Bella, and what is that mission behind your brand?
Okay. I've been in the fashion industry for many, many years, more than I even like to admit. I tell people I've been in 30 plus years, but I'm only 25. So I'm not quite sure how that works. But I started as a retail buyer back in the day when department stores were very big, and went on to specialty store chains. And I did that for 30 years. And from there, I went into manufacturing, worked for people like BCBG, stage stores. Did product for a lot of chain stores like I've done it for Kohl's and Target, but also Wet Seal and Charlotte Russe. A lot of it primarily was a junior flair. And it was funny, as I got older, I was like, oh, great, here is this junior merchant. It's now in her 40s, getting into her 50s, but still had that flair. But what really took me to I did manufacture. I loved every bit about it. I love the inspiration that goes with it, also what makes people buy certain things. Even as a teenager, why did you buy that color? Why did you buy that top? Which led me into buying. But what also, as the pandemic came around, um I then said things started closing, things started going, not obviously a lot of retail, manufacturing, we were closing. And I said to my husband, I want to do something that has a meaning to it. Not that that didn't, but I want to make a difference. I was a mentor. I did a lot of internships for FIT when I worked in the city. So I wanted to make a difference in somebody's life. And so I created Daisy Bella. And so I took my background into making products like this. The difference is, because I am a small person, I do have to buy a base garment, and then I do all the designing, the screening, and everything from here, there to here. I do wholesale as well. And so it's very humbling because I was a VP running divisions for BCBG to now a one woman show. But it's okay because it definitely is making a difference. And what Daisy Bella does is she is empowering women, all ages, to be who they are, to believe in themselves. I work with women's shelters. I send girls to camp when their families can't afford it. So right now I'm in my summer camp mode of sending girls to camp. Last year, we were able to send 3. This year, I'm hoping to. We just did the 1 so far, and the summer just started. But it's helping women who financially can't really help their families. So we go in anonymously, and I do it like a lottery. I make it feel like everybody wins. They win, I win, and everybody gets to go to camp feeling like this is a lottery versus somebody paying for it. And so that's where Daisy Bella is the flower, the daisy is just as beautiful as anywhere else. And so I kind of go in to represent my product, pays it forward. So people see this as a t-shirt. I don't. I see this as a product, something that's going to help me help someone who may not have that support. And that's what fuels Daisy Bella. So the messages are inspirational. They'll for anybody. It's really to remind ourselves that we are who we are, and that's what we're born to be. And so that's how it all started.
I love it. I love so much about your story. So really quick, when did Daisy Bella actually launch?
Daisy Bella launched in 2020.
2020. Okay, amazing.
Yeah, just
And go
just
ahead.
like when the pandemic was coming, that's when it started fueling.
Uh-huh.
And it took 6 months to get off and do whatever. So I would say actively would be 2021.
Yeah, I think there's so many businesses that arise out of that time, right? And it kind of aligns with your story where you saw that need of like, how can we like lift the spirits back up? So I love it
Yes,
so much. And by the way, just going back to your previous comment, I think, the math works out because you were probably in the fashion industry in your previous life. So that's how you were able to, get your 30 years in the industry and you're only 25, just FYI.
exactly. 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 I do a lot of local events. I'll do a lot of events to get the word out.
Yeah.
So people know that you're not just buying a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a tank. You're buying somebody some support.
Mm.
And people, and I will go on and on and on about it, where people say, my wife, my husband's just like waiting for me. But it's about, and I started, and there is a story behind it. Why Daisy Bella? Because when I graduated from college, and I did my internship, someone said to me, Marianne, you are very, very nice, but I'm not quite sure you're tough enough for the fashion industry. And I was from a small town in Connecticut, Italian, and I was like, excuse me. And so I always said at that particular moment, I will make sure that you can lead, in a positive way. You don't have to be a barracuda. But I always do tell people, don't take this smile as a weakness, because I know when to come in and chop at the knees if I need to. But so I went through my career, and I guess there's some ways I said I never wanted to be like that. And I always wanted to empower somebody to feel good that they have the confidence, that they know what they're doing. But I laugh. I said, maybe if she never said that to me, maybe I wouldn't have been as successful and rose to the top. I don't know, but I did. And so I don't know if I thank her or whatever, but I was able to run many divisions. I was a GMM, a DMM. I did my own division. So for a lot of, multi-million dollar companies. So some way, I guess I should thank her. But I also took the approach, even when I mentored girls from FIT, and I used to say to them, this may not be the coolest brand back then, but I guarantee you, when you walk out of the showroom, you're going to know 10 times more than somebody else, because I'm not going to have you cutting swatches. I'm not going to have you getting coffee. You are going to work. You may not like me, but you're going to work. And to this day, I'm still friendly with every person that I mentored. And to me, that's the success. If somebody wants to know what's your success, is watching other people be successful. Then I know I did my job.
That's
You
so,
know,
that is, I love the way that you phrase that. And I haven't heard that yet, that, your success is based on seeing other people be successful. That is so beautiful. And that really kind of like encompasses our mission, right? Because with our platform, we're working with all these incredible women-owned businesses and we're doing what we can to provide resources and support for them. So I love the way that you phrased that. I think it's a really important point that you brought up about how nice you are and how going into the business, you kind of had people around you saying, well, that's actually going to be a hindrance to you being successful. So that's interesting to me, and I want to dive into that. So let's kind of break that apart because there are a lot of people out there that are just like these genuinely nice people and they're all happy and bubbly, but the entrepreneurial world is a tough game.
And
And
that is very true, but it goes back to, you really have to know who you are.
exactly. So how can they kind of navigate that, right? How can they put on that face, that brave front, make sure they're standing their ground without really losing sight of who they are and the energy that they're bringing to their brand?
I would think that someone has to give you an example. You have to really hold true to who you are and not be afraid that you're going to lose out. And, like when I traveled around the world. I used to go into factories in China and negotiate. And I'm telling you, maybe it was pennies, but 3 cents, 5 cents. And people would say, oh, no, 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 it didn't matter. I needed that because that cost would change for duty and this, and that. And so when you really understand you, you know what? You're not going to back down. I could be nice and joke about it, which I'm very much about. Oh, such and such, da 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 da. I don't want to send your child to college. I don't want to put a new roof on your house. I just need this. So you learn your own technique, and it's like what comes to who your personality is. And then eventually people understand. But I always, and I'm telling you, as I age, I chuckle and I say to my husband, people always get tripped up because they think I'm nice and that they can push. And as soon as I give you enough rope to hang yourself. And then they always do. They always do. And I chuckle. And I'm like, you know what? My mama did not raise a fool. So that's number one. And number two is I understand business. I understand A plus B is getting me to C. So I know that I have to get there. I'm going to make the touchdown. Like I would say to my buyers when I had new buyers, don't mimic me. I don't want you to be me. I want you to be you. And how I'm going to make a touchdown is going to be completely different than you want to or how you are. But it doesn't matter because we have our own style as long as you do it. And then the other thing that I think people need to understand, you're going to make mistakes and that's okay. Just don't make the same one over and over because then you're not learning. To this day, I've been doing it for a lot of years. I still make mistakes. And it's okay because, as Oprah says, knowledge is power. You learn from that. So back to the question is for someone starting out, know really what you want to accomplish and put on the blinders and do it. And just don't back down. You know what? Don't do it with a smile.
Hey, beautiful humans, really quick, did you know that hiring a virtual assistant saves people 14.7 hours per week on average? As our platform and my family continues to grow, I knew there was no way that I could keep doing it all alone. And I mean, who wants to anyway, right? So I finally made the leap to hire a VA, and it has been game changing. iWorker actually came recommended to me by a friend who also has a VA that she loves from there. And there's so much more to the agency that actually really drew me to them and made me feel comfortable taking that leap and making the commitment to bringing on a VA, which is a huge decision. Not only does iWorker ensure that their VAs are top tier, they're committed to hiring people from countries in crisis where the work that you're providing really does matter. iWorker was actually co-founded by a Venezuelan immigrant in response to the Venezuelan refugee crisis, which is why their mission is so profoundly rooted the way that it is. And most of their team, which is 65% women, which we love, they're able to support multiple family members. thanks to the income that they're receiving from iWorker. My VA has been an absolute game changer, and she has a little one of her own, which makes me appreciate her work ethic even more and makes me feel really good that I did make the decision to go with iWorker. So if you are ready to start taking that busy work off of your plates so that you can focus on the work that really does matter in your business and in growing your business, head to iWorker. They'll take care of all the things: social media, video editing, graphic design, copywriting, you name it. Head to iWorker. It is going to be an affiliate link that's in the notes, but just know I do not take that lightly, okay? I only share things with you that I really do know and that I actually use and 100% will continue to support. So again, that link is in the show notes, but let's go ahead and get back to the episode.
You know, to give you an example, I went with my sister to get a car, and she didn't bring her husband, she brought me. We went back and forth, and I embarrassed people. It was over $5, Crystal. And I said to the salesman, you don't understand. This is the deal. If it's not, then we don't need to be here. And he went back and we got the deal. But that's what my message is: hold firm. And that's it. Sleep. Smile. Sorry, I'm not doing it.
I like that. I think, the fear behind that is in holding firm is they're afraid that they're going to lose. Right. So how do they shift their mindset in that regard?
Okay, so here's the thing. If you feel like you're going, I also am a person of faith. And I believe what's meant to be is going to be. And I will talk to God. Okay, you're going to think everybody's going to think I'm a little whacked, but I do. Whatever's going to be is going to be. Like, I have to trust my faith and know if this opportunity is right for me, the door's going to open with my help. If I am really, really pushing it and the door is not open, then I need to take a look at it to say, is this right for me? And I think we need to make those judgments. Sometimes we want something so badly, but it's not right for us.
Yeah.
So they don't click. I believe the universe clicks when it's all right and when it's not.
Yeah. So good. I think that's important to put into practice, right? To put yourself in those positions where you are having to practice being in that space of, these are my boundaries and I'm going to stick to it. Because the more you're getting into the habit of leaning in their direction and kind of giving them everything that they want, then that's when you slowly lose yourself, right? And then it's like this perpetual kind of cycle. And then all of a sudden you're looking back at like, oh my gosh, like I've gone in a completely different direction that doesn't even feel good to me.
Exactly.
So being able to stand firm that one time, even that one time, I think is so empowering, right? That's like,
Absolutely.
wow, I did it.
Absolutely. Just knowing that, because it goes back to, I sell a lot of these, you are enough.
Yeah.
Trust your gut. I always tell people, your gut is really a brain.
Yep.
And when it doesn't feel right, then it's usually not.
Yeah.
It's not.
I couldn't agree more. And, being able to reframe, like, just because it didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, maybe it just wasn't right for me, not because I didn't do a good enough job, having that kind of mindset. So you've kind of alluded to, certain opportunities not opening up, even, despite how hard you've been pushing. And this is what I love about your stories. In your bio, you talked about the power of self-love, right? And how when you started your business, there were a lot of opportunities that weren't opening up for you, like that you just saw doors closed. How do you get past that? And how were you able to kind of make opportunities for yourself?
I think, and trust me, it is not happy all the time. There's a lot of self-inventory you have to do to yourself. When I first started, as I said to you, I was in juniors. I did a lot of junior things. Okay, I think like a 25-year-old. So when I first started Daisy Bella, I was doing these beautiful t-shirts, beautiful colors. They were slimmer fit, but I'm saying people don't really care. They'll just go up a size or two. Guess what? I cost myself an $8,000 lesson because they did care. And now as smart as I was been buying and doing whatever, it wasn't the audience of who Daisy Bella was. She wasn't that young. She was younger, but I really have an ageless group. So I learned quickly and very expensive on what I had to do. But what I did was, okay, I made a big mistake financially, whatever. But I'm saying, okay, now I have something I know this could help somebody else. So I started knocking on doors to certain shelters. I knocked on doors to foster care because I knew my product was right for a younger person. And so I started donating things and donating my product that everybody was they didn't want to go to an extra large when they were a medium. And so my husband and I had a conversation. He says, Mary, this is a great thing, but you need to make some money because you keep spending it. I'm like, oh, you're such a Debbie Downer. This is so. And so then I said to myself, okay, so now let me put my expertise out there and really see who is the person, and then getting statistics and seeing. So I had to open doors to know that the person who really is a Daisy Bella customer is really a free spirit, is somebody who wants to help somebody and isn't saying to themselves, they love the cause more than they love the merchandise. It's a quality garment. It's all the checkpoints, but they love what it does. And that's who she is. But it took me a little while to find out, where is she? And so, you know what? I still, every now and then go, wrong door. I need to go that door. And so I don't think it ever stops. And I'll tell you why. I had my boss in 1979. I will never forget it. And then we were sitting in the Orient, and he said to me, Mary Ann, the day you think you know everything, you see that door? Keep walking. He said, never, ever feel comfortable that you know everything, because then you stop learning, then you stop growing, and then you become stale. And I'm like, I don't want to be stale.
100%. I don't think that's even a negotiable thing. If you're coming into business for yourself, you always need to have this learner mindset and recognize that you will never, ever, ever know everything. And I love that you've been able to, share that through your business. You're allowing yourself to pivot and learn by doing. And even the demographic point of it, which I want to reiterate, when people are just going into business, I think there's this common misconception that it's like, oh, it's this 30-year-old woman, 30-year-olds, Asian woman
Yes.
or whatever. And they're kind of specific in it that way. But it's really the psychology of
Absolutely.
your client, right? Of your customer. What are they thinking? You said they're a free spirit. Where do they like to show up? What do they like to do? What kind of causes do they like to support? That's how you want to find who it is your product is for.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's fascinating because she keeps learning and turning. And and the more, and certain things that will, even though you know who she is, you understand some things that she loves. And then there are other things that you think she's going to love. And you're like, why doesn't she like that? Why isn't that design clicking with her as much as it should? Because it fits all the 1, 2, 3 points, so that's just part. Even when I do a line, we would used to see what's selling, and then we would chase it and go after the color and this, and that. And then all of a sudden she'd decide to pivot, oh, no, she doesn't want that anymore. She wants this. So it's always being on your toes. But I do believe having that background and understanding that she changes in a dime. She changes very quickly. And that's okay. I just know that my message doesn't change. So I don't have a problem changing color, changing bodies, changing whatever. But my message is always going to be helping other women feel good about themselves. That's the key, where I think one of the things I really want to accomplish is to let a younger generation know that the woman next to them is not their competition. That's not. God created us equally. and differently. So what your expertise and my expertise are totally different doesn't make one better or the other, just makes us who we are. And that once you feel that, then you kind of know, like, oh, let me help you out. I am always helping other entrepreneurs because, that's what I do. And it's not helping my product, it's just helping me as a human being, help someone else succeed. And if they succeed, then that's even better because that's what this world needs. We need that.
We absolutely do. We are all about, creating connection. And this is a conversation that I feel like I've been having a lot in the past few days. When I say community, like I am very genuine about it. And we are not here to gatekeep any secrets because I couldn't agree with you more. We need to help each other and support each other. And they should not be seen as your competition. Even if they're doing something very similar to what you're doing, that should be just kind of, your nudge to be like, wow, there's so many things that we can connect on. There's so many things that we can learn from each other. Right. So I love that you do it. And then you were talking about, you're trying different things with your brand, right? As your client evolves, as your brand evolves, but your message remains the same. What do you think are like kind of the most effective ways that you've seen for your business to really communicate that message so that it lands for your customers?
The most is, it's funny you're gonna say, is my mouth. I do, when I am in an arena of people and I speak, I know I connect. I happen to be a human connector. I like people a lot. I mean, I like to talk too much sometimes, but I love people. I love to share the message. And so once I do, I'm very passionate about what I do. I have to love what I do. I know you're not supposed to, but I have to love what I make. Even though I used to say buying, it's not buying for you, we're buying for an audience. But the tables are turned for me now. I'm making the product. So if I'm making it, I better like it. And I do things. But as a website, I think I think the website looks great. I think, is it as strong as it could be? I don't think so. But because I think it misses my connection, and I still haven't mastered that. And I believe, I can hire someone to do, but they're not going to do the same with my personal touch. So that's what I'm trying to do as well. But I do believe it's the human side. And I think we're going into a human cycle again, where you see little things are popping up. I still believe everything's online. Trust me, I know that. But I do see more and more people coming to local events to get back into touching product, meeting people, and after everybody being cooped up from COVID, people are now going back and loving to shop or to mingle or have coffee or do whatever. So I think we're in that cycle again of being there and meeting people and people hearing the story. You can read the story, but reading and hearing somebody are two different things.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel the same way because when you're so passionate about what it is that you do, like that passion absolutely is just like oozing out of you when you're speaking about it, right? And that's how you can make a really great connection. So I'm assuming you are still doing quite a handful of pop-ups then, right? That's what it's sounding like.
Totally.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's kind of dive into that realm because of a lot of our audience, they are also, in that area where they're doing a lot of pop-ups. They like to be vendors. So with clothing, do you have any kind of like specific, I guess, insight for what has worked well with you in terms of making sure you're going into the right markets, making sure you're able to stand out in the crowd and let your mission shine through to get people up to your booth?
Yes. My first year, when I did pop-ups, and I'll be honest, I just did them because I thought I needed to do those, but it wasn't the right audience. And so I live in Fairfield County, part of Connecticut, and it is certain parts of the county are, like I would say to my sister, they're not very nice. because it can't be, because nice people would want to wear this, but making a joke. But I know certain counties are much stronger in the free people, free spirited. You know, if you're a free people person, then you're definitely a Daisy Bella person because you just go with it. Very bohemian, very, feeling that way. If you are a Chanel, Gucci, whoever, you're not going to relate to me at all. And in the beginning, I kind of went to some of those markets thinking that, oh, that would be what it was totally wrong. So the first year I learned a lot of what markets to go to, what not. And I'm still learning and branching out because I do Connecticut and New York. So I kind of look at where I think that elk is going to be. So it's trial and error. I don't think there's a way of getting around it because you have to experience the people that are there
Mhm.
to
You
make
do.
that decision.
And you don't really know until you're putting yourself in there, right? I mean, I think a great tip that has been shared in the past is like go there, right? You don't have to actually do the pop-up and invest the money if it's heavily, if it's a really large fee, but you can still go check it out, kind of
Right.
observe the crowd and get the feeling for, is this the person that would be part of my.
I think one bit of advice that I heard someone give is that there was a woman who made pies. This is a perfect example. She made pies that were $22 to $24. And she went to her local area and they weren't really selling. So someone gave her advice and said, do not go there. Go where people are going to Starbucks. People are paying $10 or $8 for a coffee because if the people are making it up, like say $2 for coffee, they're not buying a $24 pie. But the people who are buying $8 coffees are going to buy your pies. And she moved markets, she found it. Her business is very nice.
I love that. And I love that she had, people like you and people that were willing to give her that insight. And that's the importance of connecting with other people that you're in the pop-ups with, right? Connecting with your vendor
Absolutely.
neighbors and getting that insight of what they've experienced with that market as well.
Absolutely. And that's a good point that you say. Talk to people in the markets because they're the ones I'm always giving people. These are the markets that I thought were really good. I can't guarantee you, but I think you should try them. And I'm always sending people lists. And that's how people will get different lists that they don't know about.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. I love that. Do you have any other like diving into your story and like what have been your biggest obstacles in growing your brand and putting yourself out there from that experience and from the lessons that you've learned, what would be your biggest tips for someone going into a clothing business specifically?
Well, I started Daisy Bell. The product part was very easy. Designing, merchandise, that was easy. The technical piece was very hard. I am not that age. So, and I will never forget, and I was hiring people to do it. And so this one gentleman in California said to me, Marianne, it's all well and good that you pay somebody, but you need to understand the philosophy. You need to understand the business of a website because if something goes wrong. And so I ended up taking class and doing this. And can I tell you, Crystal, that was very challenging, still is. I'm not a techie and I'm always saying, excuse me, can you back up a little bit? Because you just went over my head. And so I find that piece and I mastered it. So now I feel good about, but it took me a few years to really get understanding. I do a lot of my own website now. That's why it's like teetering. But I need to know it. If there is an issue, I need to be the person to correct it. And so I wanted to learn that because he said I need to. And then you can branch out and do whatever. But then you're never going to know what somebody's doing if they're doing it what you need if you don't understand. Best advice I ever got.
I am so glad you brought that up. And it really is very smart advice because I think the natural thing is like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything about this. I'm just going to pay someone to do it. you want to get really well versed in all of the different parts of your business, right? Because like you said, if they're not doing it right, you have no way of overseeing that, of ensuring the quality is there.
I had 3 websites that someone paid. Finally, by the time I went to my 4th, which is now, I finally got, I had to say, okay, because when somebody's starting out and you're doing everything, it's overwhelming. It's like, what do you do first? You can do this 24/7. My mom said to me today, she goes, I've never seen you work harder and longer than I did when I was in corporate. And I said, you're right, but I love every minute of it. But it's about it's you can get like, oh my God, it's so easy to pay someone off. I paid someone off in social media. I paid for my website. I didn't just thought I was just going to be the merchant. And that was wrong answer. But it was okay. I learned. And so there's a lot of times when I'm at an event and somebody goes, oh, are you on social media? Especially if they're younger. And they'll say, do you have Instagram? I have Instagram, Pinterest. I go on it, but do not judge me because I'm doing it. And they're like, okay, don't worry. But those are all hurdles. But when you make it, you go, yeah.
Yeah.
But they were definitely hurt. My gray was covered now.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's the cost of entry, right? You have to put yourself in that place where you're learning as you do it, but then at some point when you get really good at it, that's when you can delegate it out and ensure that the quality that's being put out there is still exactly what you had in mind. Mariana, I love your energy. First of all, I want to throw that out there, but you have been incredible. And I think there's so much value that you've shared with us today. I wish we can continue talking, but if anyone is out there and wanting to connect with you, where can they find your brands? Where can they find you?
They can find me at Daisy Bella. It's daisy-bella.com. And there they can contact me. Trust me, if anybody has a question, I'm always there to answer. I'm here to help anyone. If the one thing my message is to sign off is don't be afraid to make a mistake, because you will, but it's okay.
Yeah. Know that you will make the mistakes. I think that is the mindset you need. Know it's going to happen, embrace it, learn from it, keep moving forward. Thank you so much. That is the perfect way to end this off. Marianne, again, you've been incredible. So thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Another incredible interview with yet another inspiring woman in entrepreneurship. I hope you guys loved that episode just as much as I did. Before we leave off, if you yourself are also a woman entrepreneur, I would love for you to consider joining our Empowered by Women directory. We're looking for women-owned product and service-based businesses in the US to help us build the go-to place for our communities to find local women to shop with and connect with, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. All of the details can be found on www.empoweredbywomen.com/apply-directory. Of course, that's going to be linked in the show notes below, and you're also welcome to reach out to me anytime if you have any questions. But other than that, thank you again so much for joining us, and I will see you in the next episode.